The young wanderer and the first hidden lesson before Miyamoto Musashi became a legend. Before people feared his name, he was just a lonely boy walking through dust and silence. The sun was rising slowly. The road was empty. Musashi stood still. He did not rush. He watched. Most people never talk about this moment. They talk about his victories. They talk about how he never lost a duel. But the real story begins here, when he had nothing. No teacher, no home, and no clear path. Musashi was born in a time of war. Japan was divided. Swords decided truth. Strength meant survival. From a young age, Musashi saw blood, fear, and pride. Other boys trained in schools. They followed rules. They copied their masters. Musashi did not. He learned alone. People said he was wild. Some said he was careless. Others said he was foolish. But deep inside, Musashi was searching for something more than strength. He wanted to understand why some men won and why others lost. At the age of 13, he fought his first duel. The opponent was older, stronger, trained. Everyone thought Musashi would die. The duel was short. Dust flew. Wood struck bone. The older fighter fell. Musashi stood there, breathing hard, shocked by his own victory. That day, Musashi learned something dangerous. Winning felt powerful, and power can make a man blind. For years, Musashi traveled. From village to village, he challenged fighters. He slept on cold ground. He ate little. He fought many duels and won most of them. His name slowly spread. But something inside him felt wrong. Each victory felt empty. One night, after another duel, Musashi sat alone near a small fire. His hands were shaking, not from fear, from confusion. He asked himself a simple question. Why did I really win? He could not answer. That question followed him like a shadow. One morning, Musashi reached an old, broken temple deep in the mountains. The roof was cracked. The walls were old. No one lived there, or so he thought. Inside the temple, an old man was, sweeping the floor. His movements were slow, calm. Each step was careful. The broom touched the ground like water flowing. Musashi watched. The old man did not look strong. His body was thin. His clothes were simple, yet something felt different. The air around him felt quiet, heavy. Musashi spoke loudly. Double, quotes old man. Why do you move so slowly? The man did not answer. He kept sweeping. Minutes passed. Musashi felt uncomfortable. He was used to action, to noise, to movement. Silence made him uneasy. Finally, the old man stopped and looked at Musashi. He smiled. You see fast, the old man said, but you do not see deep. Musashi frowned. What does that mean? The old man picked up a small leaf from the floor. He dropped it. The leaf floated slowly, turning in the air before touching the ground. Tell me, the old man said, when did the leaf fall? Musashi answered quickly. Just now. The old man shook his head. It fell long before that. It fell when the wind changed. Musashi did not understand. The old man continued. Most fighters look at the shrike. Few look at the moment before. The shrike. Those words stayed in Musashi's mind. That day, The old man did not teach him how to swing a sword. He did not show a new stance. He did not speak of strength. Instead, he gave Musashi one strange rule: watch first, act last. Musashi felt angry. How can watching win a fight? He asked. A duel is fast. If I wait, I die. The old man smiled again. Only if you wait with fear. Musashi left the temple confused. The rule felt useless. Too simple. Too slow. He believed speed won fights, not waiting. But something kept pulling him back. Days later, Musashi faced another challenger. The man attacked fast, shouting loudly. Musashi reacted as always, quickly, aggressively. He lost. For the first time in years. Musashi fell to the ground, bleeding. That night, lying under the stars, he remembered the old man's words: watch first, act last. He realized something painful. He had been fighting without seeing. The next duel came soon. This time, Musashi did something different. He did not rush. He watched the opponent's feet, his breath, his eyes. He noticed tension before movement, fear before attack. The opponent grew nervous. Silence stretched. Then the opponent attacked. Too early, Musashi moved once. The duel ended. Musashi stood still. Shocked again, not by victory, but by how easy it felt. For the first time. He felt calm during a fight. That night, Musashi returned to the temple. The old man was gone. Only the broom remained. Musashi bowed. He understood the first. Lesson. Baya does not begin with action. It begins with awareness. But this was only the beginning, because watching others was easy. The real challenge was learning to watch himself, and that lesson would cost him everything he believed about strength. The scroll, the silence, and the cost of discipline. After the night at the old temple, Miyamoto Musashi was no longer the same man. He still carried his sword. He still walked the lonely roads. But now, something inside him had changed. He had learned to watch others. The next lesson was harder. He had to learn to watch himself. Musashi traveled through forests and villages, but he spoke less. He listened more. He noticed small things. The way people moved when they lied, the way fear showed before anger, the way the body revealed the mind. Many fighters challenged him. Some mocked his silence. Some laughed at his calm face. They thought he was weak. They were wrong. Musashi won. Again and again, but his victories were strange. He did not attack fast. He did not shout. He did not show anger. He waited. His enemies attacked first. They always made mistakes. People began to fear him. They said he fought like a ghost. They said his eyes looked empty, cold, but inside, Musashi was fighting a different battle. Waiting was painful. His body wanted to move. His ego wanted to prove itself. Every second of stillness felt like fire in his chest. One night, while resting near a river, Musashi found something unexpected. A small cloth bag was tied to a broken tree branch. Inside it was an old scroll. The paper was yellow. The ink was faded. The words were few, very few. The scroll said, "Do less, see more, waste nothing." Musashi read it again, and again he did not understand. How can doing less make me stronger? He whispered. In battle, doing less felt dangerous. Waiting felt risky. Acting slowly felt like weakness. But Musashi remembered the leave. He remembered the wind. So he decided to test the scroll, not only in battle, but in life. The next day, Musashi walked. Instead of running, he ate slowly instead of quickly. He spoke only when needed. At first, it felt wrong. His mind became loud. Thoughts attacked him. Doubts shouted inside his head. You are wasting time. You will lose your edge. You will become weak. Musashi almost gave up. But then something strange happened. The more he slowed down, the clearer things became. He noticed how people revealed their true nature when he stayed silent. He noticed how anger in others rose when he did not react. He noticed how calm made others uncomfortable. Stillness was powerful. Days later, Musashi entered a small town. A well-known fighter lived there. Proud, fast, famous. The man challenged Musashi in front of a crowd. Fight me now, the fighter said loudly. Musashi said nothing. They stood facing each other. The crowd waited. Seconds passed. Then minutes. The other fighter grew angry. Are you afraid? He shouted. Musashi remained still. The fighter attacked with full force. Too fast. Too eager. Musashi stepped aside and struck once. The duel ended. The crowd was silent. That night, Musashi sat alone. Again. But this time, the silence did not hurt. It felt heavy, like a deep ocean. Yet discipline had a price. People stopped talking to him. Some avoided his eyes. Others called him heartless. Even friendly faces became distant. Musashi felt alone. One evening, he met a young man who followed him for hours. Why do you fight like this? The young man asked. You look calm, but empty. The words cut deep. Musashi had no answer. That night, he opened the scroll again. Waste nothing. He realized the scroll was not only about movement, it was about energy. Every angry thought wasted energy. Every proud action wasted energy. Every useless word wasted energy. Musashi began to control not only his body, but his inner world. This made him stronger and colder. Soon, news of war spread across the land. Battles were coming. Chaos was rising. Many swords would fall. Musashi knew his discipline would be tested like never before. A duel was simple. War was not. In war, noise ruled. Fear ruled. Speed ruled. Could silence survive chaos? As Musashi walked toward the battlefield, he felt doubt for the first time since the temple. What if this discipline fails me? He wondered. That night, before the battle, Musashi sat alone and watched the fire. He did not pray for victory. He watched his breath. Slow, deep, controlled. He remembered the first rule. Watch first. Act last. When morning came, the ground shook. With movement, soldiers ran. Commands echoed. Steel clashed. Musashi did not rush. He moved only when needed. He avoided traps others fell into. He survived attacks others did not see. His calm mind saw paths hidden inside chaos. By the end of the battle, Musashi still stood. Many others did not. People looked at him with fear, but inside, Musashi felt something new. Not pride, not joy, a question. What is the end of this path? That night, as bodies burned and smoke filled the sky, Musashi realized something terrifying. This discipline could make him unstoppable, but it could also make him lose his humanity. And somewhere in the darkness, another man was watching him. A man who followed a different path. A man who would soon challenge everything Musashi believed. Fire, chaos. And the man who watched backward does not wait. It crashes into men like a storm. When Miyamoto Musashi stepped onto the battlefield, the air was thick with smoke and fear. Soldiers shouted. Steel clashed. The ground shook under running feet. Most men moved fast. Musashi moved little. He remembered the scroll. Do less. See more. Waste nothing. He watched before every step. He listened before every strike. His sword moved only when the moment was right. Around him, men rushed and fell. Their fear made them blind. Their anger made them careless. Musashi stayed alive. Hours passed. The sun climbed high. Blood darkened the soil. Musashi felt tired, but his mind stayed clear. Stillness protected him better than speed. At one moment, arrows filled the sky. Men panicked. Musashi did not. He noticed the sound before the shadow. He stepped where others did not. An arrow passed his shoulder. Another missed his head by inches. He did not feel lucky. He felt aware. By sunset, the battle slowed. The field was quiet, broken only by groans and smoke. Musashi stood among the survivors. People whispered his name. They looked at him as if he were not human. But Musashi felt no joy, only silence. That night, fires burned across the field. Musashi sat alone, sharpening his sword. His hands moved slowly, carefully. Each motion had purpose. Then he felt it. Someone was watching him, not with fear, not with hate. With calm, Musashi looked up. Across the firelight stood a man about his age, tall, relaxed. His sword rested easily at his side. His eyes were sharp, but not wild. The man smiled slightly. You fight differently, the man said. Musashi said nothing. I watched you all day, the man continued. You move less than anyone, yet you survive more than all. Musashi studied. Him, observation, Musashi finally said. The man nodded. Speed, he replied. They stared at each other. Two paths, two beliefs. I am Sasaki, the man said. One day we will test which path is stronger. He turned and walked into the darkness. Musashi did not follow. That night, Musashi could not sleep. The man's calm bothered him. He was not reckless. He was not afraid. He was confident. 2 confident days passed. The war continued. Musashi fought. Again and again. His discipline saved him many times. But now, doubt crept into his mind. Was stillness enough? He began to notice something troubling in the middle of chaos. Some moments demanded speed. Hesitation could kill others. During one battle, Musashi waited too long. A fellow soldier fell beside him. Struck before Musashi acted, the man died looking at Musashi. That look followed him. That night, Musashi stared at his hands. Had discipline turned into delay? The scroll did not give comfort, it gave questions. Another battle came. This one was brutal. Traps everywhere. Ambushes hidden. Screams echoed through narrow paths. Musashi moved carefully, but the enemy was fast. Too fast. For the first time, Musashi was wounded badly. His arm bled. Pain burned in that moment. Fear tried to take control, but Musashi breathed slow. Deep, he remembered. Discipline was not slowness, it was control. He changed. He moved when needed. Faster, sharper, still without waste. He survived after the battle. Musashi collapsed under a tree. Blood soaked his clothes. His body shook from exhaustion. That is when Sasaki returned. You learned something today, Sasaki said calmly. Yasa, Musashi replied. Yes, Musashi replied. Stillness without purpose is weakness. Sasaki smiled. Wider, good. Then you are not lost. They sat across from each other in silence. Sasaki spoke again. You hold back your fire, I release mine. Both are dangerous. Musashi said nothing. Sasaki stood. One day we will meet without war between us, only truth. He left again. Musashi closed his eyes. He understood now. This discipline was not about freezing. It was about choosing when to wait, when to strike. War taught him balance, but balance had a cost. Each day Musashi felt further from normal men. He did not laugh, he did not hate, he did not fear. He simply acted. When the war finally ended, Musashi walked away from the battlefield. Alone, people called him unstoppable. They did not see the weight he carried. He had mastered control, but control had made him distant, and somewhere Sasaki trained harder, faster, burning brighter. Two forces were moving toward each other, one calm like deep water, one fierce like flame. When they finally met, the world would witness something rare, not just a duel of swords, a duel of beliefs. And Musashi would learn the most. Painful lesson yet. Winning does not always feel like victory, the duel of silence. And fire time changes men, but destiny brings them back together. After the war, Miyamoto Musashi traveled alone. Mountains replaced battlefields. Silence replaced screams. He trained every day, but not like before. Now, his training was inward. He practiced stillness. He practiced timing. He practiced choice. Musashi no longer fought for fame. He fought to understand himself. Yet one name stayed in his mind. Sasaki, the man of speed, the man of fire. Years passed. Musashi grew stronger, calmer, sharper. His movements became simple. No waste, no anger, no pride. People said he was unbeatable, but Musashi knew the truth. He had never tested his discipline against its opposite, until one day, a message reached him. A duel was coming. The place was Ginru Island. The opponent was Sasaki Kojiro. Musashi walked toward the shore early in the morning. The sea was quiet. Fog covered the water. The sky was pale and cold. He felt no fear, but he felt weight across the water. Sasaki waited, tall, relaxed, confident. His sword was long, longer than most. He held it easily, like it was part of his body. Sasaki smiled. "You are late," Sasaki said. Musashi said nothing. He stepped onto the sand slowly. He carried a wooden sword he had carved himself from an oar. The crowd whispered, "A wooden sword against steel." Sasaki laughed. "Still doing less?" Sasaki asked. Musashi looked at him calmly. "I waste nothing," Musashi replied. The duel began. Sasaki attacked. First, fast, sharp, beautiful, his sword cut the air like lightning. Musashi stepped back. He did not rush. He watched Sasaki attack again and again, each strike faster than the last. His style was full of fire, full of confidence. The crowd gasped. Musashi barely moved. Inside Musashi's mind, everything slowed. He saw Sasaki's breath. He saw the shift in weight. He saw the moment before movement. But something was wrong. Sasaki was not careless. He was precise, Musashi realized. Something dangerous. This opponent would not make easy mistakes. Time stretched, one wrong choice would end everything. Sasaki smiled again. "You wait too much," Sasaki said. "The world does not pause for still men." He attacked with full force. Musashi felt the wind of the blade near his face. For the first time in years, doubt struck him. Had discipline gone too far? Had calm become hesitation? In that moment, Musashi remembered the battlefield. He remembered the fallen soldier. He remembered the lesson of balance. Discipline was not slowness. It was control. Musashi stepped forward, not back. Sasaki did not expect it. Their weapons collided. Wood against steel. The sound echoed across the island. Sasaki's eyes widened. Musashi moved again. One clean strike. Sasaki fell. The duel ended. Silence filled the air. Musashi stood still, breathing slowly. Sasaki lay on the ground, wounded beyond recovery. He looked up at Musashi, not with anger, but understanding. "So," Sasaki said weakly, "your calm learned to move." Musashi bowed his head. "Yes," he replied, "and your fire taught me when." Sasaki smiled one last time, then he was gone. Musashi turned away from the crowd. There was no joy in his face, no pride, only clarity. That day, Musashi became a legend. People spoke of his victory for generations. They spoke of the wooden sword. They spoke of the unbeatable warrior, but they did not see what Musashi lost. A part of himself died with Sasaki that night. Musashi sat alone by the sea. Waves touched the shore softly. The moon reflected on the water. He felt empty. Victory did not bring peace. It brought silence. He realized the final truth was still missing. Strength, discipline, balance, all were tools, but tools without meaning lead to emptiness. Musashi left the island before sunrise. He walked a new path, not toward more jewels, not toward more victories, toward understanding why he fought at all. The greatest enemy was no longer outside, it was inside. And the final lesson would not be learned with a sword, it would be learned with life itself. The final secret. Victory beyond the sword. After the duel on Ganru Island, Miyamoto Musashi disappeared. Not into death. Not into fear. Into silence. The world celebrated his victory. People called him unbeatable. Stories spread across villages and cities. His name became larger than life, but Musashi did not listen. He walked away. He traveled through mountains, forests, and empty roads. He no longer searched for opponents. He no longer sought to prove anything. The sword felt lighter in his hand, almost unnecessary. Musashi had won every duel, but inside he felt something strange. Emptiness. He asked himself a question he had avoided for years. If I can defeat anyone, why do I still feel unfinished? He stopped fighting. Instead, he began to observe life itself. He watched farmers work quietly under the sun. He watched children play without fear. He watched old men smile. Without strength, they had no swords. Yet they had peace. Musashi realized something painful. He had mastered combat, but not meaning. He remembered the old scroll: do less, see more, waste nothing. For the first time, he understood the final part. Waste nothing did not mean only energy or movement. It meant life. Musashi began to write. At night, by candlelight, he wrote his thoughts about discipline, about fear, about control, about ego. He understood now. Most men fight the world. Few men fight themselves. Musashi saw his past clearly. He had chased victory to escape weakness. He had chased strength to silence fear. He had chased discipline to control chaos. But none of these gave him peace. One evening, a young student found him. The boy bowed deeply. "Master," the boy said, "teach me how to never lose." Musashi looked at him calmly. He did not smile. He did not boast. He asked one simple question: "Why do you want to win?" The boy was silent. Musashi spoke softly. "Because if you do not know why you fight, victory will own you." He taught the boy nothing about sword strikes that day. Instead, he taught him how to sit, how to breathe, how to wait, how to listen. Days turned into months. Musashi taught few students. He lived simply. He ate little. He owned little. He finally understood the deepest secret. Discipline is not control over others. It is control over desire. The reason Musashi never lost was not because he was perfect. It was because he was free. Free from anger. Free from pride. Free from the fear of defeat. He no longer fought to win. He fought only when necessary. That is why he could not be defeated. Musashi wrote his final teachings, not as rules, but as reminders. See clearly before you act, move. With purpose. Not emotion, choose your battles wisely. Victory over the self is the highest victory. As his body grew old, his mind stayed sharp. He no longer feared death. He had already defeated his greatest enemy, himself, on his final days. Musashi climbed a quiet mountain. He sat facing the sky. The wind moved gently. The world felt complete. He closed his eyes, not as a warrior, but as a man at peace. The legend of Miyamoto Musashi lived on, but the true secret stayed hidden. He was unstoppable because he stopped chasing. He never lost because he was not afraid to let go, and that is the discipline few people ever master. Closing. Message for audience narration style. Musashi's secret was not the sword. It was awareness. It was restraint. It was purpose. If you want to be unstoppable in life, learn when to move, learn when to wait, and most importantly, learn why you fight.